Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun, and is fueled by Fiocchi.
Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, coming in hot with everything you want to hear about sporting clays. With your hosts, Jason Rambo.
This is what I have to work with, everyone.
And Sean Alley.
Like I said, I was just thirsty.
Oh, boy.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. It's the Dead Pair Podcast. It's showtime.
Welcome back, everyone. What's up there, Mr. Large and in charge?
Jason Rambo, I'm getting excited, man. It's still a little ways off, but the warm weather's coming up here for us Northerners, so can't wait to get the gun out there and break some birdies.
I thought you were talking about that cool new intro music that Toby did for us.
You know, that's also pretty damn cool.
I know, isn't it?
He did a good job on that.
God knows how
everybody
to jam.
take a listen and see what you think. I think it's really cool. I'd like that one just to kind of stick around for the long term.
Yeah, me too. The guy knows how to jam. I give it to him.
He does.
Hey, speaking of jam, we have a Dead Pair Kolar gun raffle we're doing or drawing. You guys
Gun drawing.
You guys need to get in on this. There's a link up on our website, thedeadpair.com. Just look up there in the top right-hand corner. If you're on your phone, you got to hit the little drop-down menu. It's right there on the right. You can find it all over social media. We got links up. I've even got a video on YouTube with a link in the description. It's easy to find. Listen, here, let me give you the rundown. This is a 32-inch Kolar Max Light Sporting, your choice of barrels. That means either high rib, mid rib, or flat rib. Okay, grade 3 wood that's going to be fitted to you. Of course, you're going to get the titanium chokes and the toolkit and all that stuff with it. This is an absolutely gorgeous gun. I mean, I got to give Sean Alley credit for the design underneath, and then, of course, Sean Mainland credit for getting it on the gun, but this is, Sean, what is the engraving pattern? It's the gold standard? Is that what, or gold?
Yeah, so it's heavily engraved and it's got the little gold accents in it. It's a gorgeous gun. You can go if you go to our website and click on the link, there's photos of both the bottom and the side of the receiver that shows a close-up. The wood that's on it isn't necessarily what you're getting, and same thing with the barrel. It's just that's how it's assembled right now. But to the lucky winner, you'll actually get to put, your personal touches on it as to what you want. And guys, this is a gun that retails for over $31,000.
Almost $32,000, yeah.
Yeah, this is a big money gun. So get your chance. Somebody's going to get in there and win this drawing. So do it now.
Yeah. I mean,
and the best thing, Jason, it also benefits kids and clays. So
yeah, absolutely. And then
it's
you're
a win-win for everybody.
And then going out the door, it's, custom fit Negrini Kolar case with it. So somebody's going to be really happy to win this thing. It might as well be you. Tickets are $100 a piece. Again, a large portion of this proceeds goes to kids and clays. Thank you to Kolar Arms for doing that for us. We greatly appreciate it. Speaking of sponsors, Taconic Distillery now has a discount. If you go to their website and you want to order something, use the code DEADPAIR10, all one word, DEADPAIR 10, and you're going to get 10% off your order, which I think is awesome, especially with the way shipping is nowadays. So thank you to Taconic for doing that for us. And one more sponsor plug, Ranger, the Super Shot glasses. By the time you're hearing this, we're going to be doing our third and final drawing for a 3-lens kit with the new Super Shot lenses. So be looking out for that. I know we had a lot of success with the guessing the shells in the bucket, but we just got hit by scammed and spammed and everything else for that. So I'm doing videos now where I'm giving you like a 3-part questions / scavenger hunt. So, and all the names or all the people that answer correctly, their names will go into a hat and then draw it out. And then of course we'll give that name to Ranger and they'll be shipping it to you directly. So thank you to RE Ranger Shooting Eyewear. Can't thank you guys enough.
We got a lot of cool sponsors, Jason. A lot of them step up to the plate and definitely make our listeners feel special by trying to give them something back to the sport. And that's one of the things I've always appreciated about them. Yeah,
for sure. Well, Sean Alley, we are talking the 2025 Jack Links Cup. We greatly missed you down there. A lot of people were asking about where's the big man at, and I unfortunately had to tell them that the wife's health's a little under the weather and he couldn't make it this time, but man, that chute is growing. My goodness, is that chute growing.
Yeah, every year we go, man, it just amazes me how much bigger and bigger it gets year by year.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. For those that missed it, we had our 200th episode. We did it live on YouTube and took everybody's questions. That was a lot of fun, by the way. Sean and I really enjoyed that, and I had talked to Sean about it afterwards. I think what we might do is occasionally we'll get a guest that's going to 100% commit, and we'll announce it ahead of time that, hey, this guest is going to be on, and you guys can come ask that person questions. But back to the Jack Links Cup, Sean, I'm telling you what, you remember how we had the blue course and the red course, and Doug Vine would just kill us with his bombs on the blue course, and then we'd go get scalded on the red course by old Joe Skull. Well, it's not like that anymore. The courses are way out there. I think it's 5.5 miles from the clubhouse to the Super Sporting, and I think the Jack Links Main and the Bass Pro Main were just as far, if not farther out.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the one course, the Promatic course, was actually it encompassed the blue course. Next year, there's going to be 4 courses. It's a 4-day main. They're increasing the targets, increasing the purse to $350,000 instead of $300,000. More guns giveaway. I mean, they're going all out. I mean, it was a wonderful event. You know, hats off to Michael Boyer and his staff down there at Quail Creek. Very big thank you to Jack Links Beef Jerky, you know, that not only owns that ranch, but also sponsored that event. So thank you to them. And Sean, Allie, I'm telling you right now, I was really worried. They sent this huge tent up. I mean, like 3 times bigger than the one they had last year, right? And they set it up across the drive there from the pavilion. And I mean, this thing's huge, right? There was nowhere to sit. There was literally nowhere to sit. There was that many people that stayed for the dinner. And the dinner, I got in the line, and this is where I was worried. I was like, man, I'm going to be in this line for an hour. And I was probably 25 people deep. And we were up like right now and to getting our food. The food was amazing. It was so good. And they did a great job. They got everybody through quickly. And it was just a lot of fun. It reminded me of days of old, Sean, where people stuck around and, you know, after the shoot and hung out and the camaraderie and all that stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And hopefully you can make it back down next year.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I wish I could have made it this year again. I'm jelly, but things are what they are, and you had to do what I had to do. But definitely looking forward to coming down there next year. So hopefully everything will align and things will work out. I can't wait to get back here. I always enjoy going to that shoot.
Yeah, so I was able to capture a couple of interviews for you guys. First of all, you're going to hear from David de Brol. He has the ShellzShukers, the magnetic pickup stick. Really cool. And to hear his story and how that came about is really, really interesting. So you guys check that out. And then immediately following, I interviewed the Jamaican Sporting Clays team, or 3 of the members, 3 of the people that headed up. And I was kind of at a loss. Like I was asking questions and I was I wrong in my assumptions, but they straightened me out. Very interesting interview. And if you guys and gals out there in listener land ever think that we have it hard here, you have no idea what these people go through to even own a shotgun, let alone use one. So it's pretty interesting, but the tenacity that they have to keep going and keep pushing, they're traveling as much as they can and shooting as much as they can. It was a really cool story, and I want everybody to take a listen to it.
And Jason, you said one of the guys, was it Winston, our buddy that we shot with a couple of years back at the Jack Link? Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad he's able to keep coming back because I wondered about that. Jason and I were squatted with Winston, and I can't remember the gal's name, but anyways, this was 3-4 years ago. I think we did that, and what a great time. They kind of palled around with us and shot with us. It was a fantastic time, and I'm glad you were able to catch up with them and get some info out of the Jamaican team there. Yeah,
that was a cool story how we come to meet Winston, but what a great guy, a lot of fun, and I always enjoy catching up with him every year at the Jack Links. So, like I said, Sean, you need to get your butt down here next year. I know you got a lot going on. You just got to pull the trigger, no pun intended.
Yep, like I said, hopefully everything lines up. I plan on being there, buddy.
All right, man. Well, everybody take a listen to this, and we'll be right back.
The Dead Pair.
All right, I have caught up with a friend of mine here at the Jack Links Cup, Mr. David de Brol. What's up, David?
Not much, buddy. Just hanging out, enjoying the view.
Well, this is interesting. So, David, I met you a few years back. You volunteer here at Quail from time to time and help out. And when we really started to get to know each other, you actually won a bunch of money. Was it in C class or B class at the first annual Dead Pair Blast?
It was B class.
B class. And you won a pile of money and just as excited as can be. And
yeah, I didn't even know you could win money.
I think at that point you said the most you'd won was like $40 on an option.
Well, I have 25.
$25. So, but no, you walked out with a pile of money that day, and we've hit it off and been good friends ever since and been shooting together and stuff. But I want to go a little bit farther than just your shooting. You started a company called ShellzShuker, and this is where people get confused because it's not spelled like you would shells and shucker. So tell everybody exactly how it's spelled.
ShellzShuker.
Okay, and what's the basis behind that name? Why did you spell it like that?
Because we're not real shells and shuckers like oysters.
Okay, all right, yeah, I like it. This magnetic pickup tool, you gave one to Sean and I to try, and I told you, sorry, you're not getting it back. I love this thing. I've used, like their regular Home Depot magnets and stuff. This thing works really, really well. Not only does it work well, but with the ejector handle, I call it on the top of it, you don't have to touch the shells. That works really well. What was it behind this? When you were volunteering from time to time, you just thought maybe there was a better way? I mean, tell us how this came about.
It actually came about. I had the same stick that everybody else had, and we're trapping. You get out there in the morning. First thing you do, you got to clean up the shells. And it's wet, the dew, the dirt, the gunpowder. It was a mess. And I'm like, there's got to be something better. So I kind of configured the other stick to work, and people copied that idea. So I'm like, you know what? I need something that's original. So I actually started sitting at home, coming up with different ideas. And I made probably 6 or 7 original designs, and then came up with this one. And then finally got it manufactured, and now you don't have to touch anything. It's a little heavier than the others, but it's made of stainless steel. The design is designed to last, but there's no touching it. You're done. You pick up your shells, pull the handle, they release, drop right in the case. You don't have to walk over to the box, shake them off, beat them off, nothing.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, I meant what I said. It's been a couple years ago now when we had the podcast where Sean and I brought it up, and I've had a ton of people reach out to me. They couldn't find the website because of the spelling,
Your computer will spell check you, and that's what messes you up.
Right, exactly. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a link to your website at the bottom of this podcast so that way people can find it a little easier. But it's been 4 years now that you've had that?
May will be 3 years, I believe.
3 years?
3 years, yeah, that we started it. And me and a friend of mine have really taken off with it. And this year has already been our best year. The
Really?
RC Cup, when we were there, it just exploded there. We went through 3 cases of them.
Wow. Well, I mean, this is a testament to where I think, the old saying, you build it and they'll come, and you've built a better mousetrap, if you will. It's not like it's the first magnet out there, but the way it works so well, I think is why you're seeing an increase of sales. The more people that have it and the more people that try it, then, their buddies want one and so on and so on.
Exactly it. And we've got about 4 or 5 clubs now that are carrying them in stock from here all the way to North Carolina. So they're getting out there more and more. And as more people see it, the more people share it, then they're really interested. And we've made them, affordable.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about it. So what is retail on one?
Right now it's $34.99 with tax. They usually end up about $38, and then shipping, whatever that ends up being according to your area.
Right. And you ship strictly from the website, or do you have retailers anywhere?
No, we have retailers at Quail Creek, Vero Beach, Blackjack Sporting Clays, Hunters Point, and OK Corral. They're all vendors of ours. And then also Shamrock Shooting Sports, who he travels from club to club. He also carries them also in stock.
Okay, cool.
But we sell it through Shopify.
Oh, okay. Do you really?
Yes.
Okay. They're easy to find. They got the red and yellow stickers on them. They stand out, and anybody wants to see one. I carry one in the back of my buggy with me everywhere I go. So I absolutely love the things. Shifting gears just for a second, onto your shooting, you have now worked your way into AA class, stepped off into the deep end, didn't you?
Not yet. It's not that deep yet. I actually, I punched up at Blackjack Sporting Clays for the Open there, and I was nervous coming into Vero at the Caribbean Classic, but I actually held my own. I was pleasantly surprised how well I did against the other AA shooters. So we just got to keep working at it and see if we can progress a little farther.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of bummed. I know you're leaving for a wedding, so you're not going to be here shooting with us, but you and I, now that I'm down here in Florida and you're based here in Florida, we get to shoot together a lot more, which is awesome. Talk about that for a second, David. I mean, how long have you been shooting the sport, first of all?
Maximum 5 years, really 3 years consistently. I got into it through a fun shoot with a friend of mine invited me to go, and unfortunately I ran into a buddy of mine, a lifelong friend that was into the sport, and I caught the bug, and lots of dineros later, I'm still doing it, and I fell in love with it.
It's been all downhill since, right?
Yeah, it's definitely downhill.
But no, I mean, that's my point is, just like the friendship that you and I formed, I mean, I think Tommy Browning said it best. There's no strangers in sporting clays, only friends you haven't met yet.
That's 100% right. I've never seen a sport that everybody is inviting. It's just incredible. From the guys that are in E-class to the guys that are masters and pros. We sit down and they sit right down with you. And you're no different than they are. They have a blast talking to you. I mean, I talked to the national champion this week at the Vero shoot, and it was just amazing. He sat right down with us, and we had a wonderful time. So.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing that's so appealing about the sport is from top to bottom. It's not like you're going to go to a NASCAR race and have one of those drivers sit down at dinner with you. You know what I mean? But it's in this sport, and that's the other thing too, is you can actually squad with these guys and shoot with these guys and gals that are at the top of the game, and they're helpful.
They're helpful, but you got to remember whose game you're going to shoot.
That's a very good point.
At Blackjack, I would have probably won class if I hadn't been shooting behind Jeremy Teeman and Cody Matson. Those guys are right up at the pro level, and you got to be careful and not pay attention to what they're doing. Shoot your own game, because when you drop that many targets in the first two stations, you realize you need to turn around when they're shooting.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's well said. That's one of the things that I've started doing is not standing behind someone and changing my plan because of what I've seen they've done, So very well said. But, David, I wanted to do this interview with you and let everybody know about ShellzShuker because I think it's awesome, and I think what you're doing is really cool. You've created a very good product that I think a lot of people would benefit from having, especially if they own an auto, where you got to go pick up your shells. It's something that I think I'd like to see one day, maybe on every station, around clubs, that they have a ShellzShuker sitting there for people to use.
Yeah, and it's a great product. We've got ideas for other things to do to expand the name, expand the market, stuff like that. But it's down the road. We gave this a 5-year run that we know it's going to take 5 years to become popular, and it has really exceeded our expectations.
That's very cool. Well, David, thank you very much for spending a few minutes with us, man. I appreciate it. I know you're going to get on the road. What are you leaving tomorrow? I think you said. So, have a good time at the wedding. We're going to miss you here, and I'll send you pictures from here of broken targets.
And I'll send you pictures of the sunset from the Bahamas.
Okay. All right. You trumped me. Okay. You got me. But thank you again, David. We appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Hey everyone. Each and every week you hear Sean and I brag about our sponsors. And it's not because they sponsor the show. It's because of their products and the unmatched customer support behind each and every single one of those products. We hope you're taking the time to investigate for yourself, try the products out, and see why we love them so much. Hey Toby Tomplay, you want to remind everyone who we're talking about?
I'd love to, Jason. Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun. Fiocchi USA. Here at the Dead Pair, we're fueled by Fiocchi. Ranger Performance Eyewear. See it further, see it faster, see it clearer with Ranger. Atlas Traps, America's finest clay target equipment. Rhino Chokes. For deadly patterns and knockdown power, choose Rhino. Long Range, the industry standard for trap release and target management systems. Taconic Distillery. After the tournament is over, it's time for one more shot with Taconic Distillery. Score Chaser, your shoots simplified. Clay Range Design Works, your one-stop shop for all your clay target needs. And now, back to the show.
I've got a cool little round table here. I'm going to pass this around, and you guys are going to introduce yourselves, okay? I am with...
Aliana McMaster.
Winston Quest.
Craig Simpson.
Okay, now, a little backstory. I shot with Winston in the main event with Sean Alley when he was down here, which we missed you, Sean. Wish you could be here, buddy. And Winston, we just hit it off. We had a great time. You guys have flown in. I don't even want to begin to talk about the politics of what you guys have to deal with, but I mean, it's not easy flying into your country with guns. Tell everybody about that process.
Yes, we have limitations with gun importation. Currently, there's an embargo in place, so there's no importations of guns allowed from the U.S. or to the U.S. market, which is a major, supply chain. We're hoping that will be lifted soon. However, yeah, we have gun restrictions. You have to get a license approved through a government body, and it's what we're trying to find a way around in terms of us hosting international events and the reason why we have not held an international event so far. So we're working, we have, people who are lobbying for, things to change and for things to be put in place so we can invite you guys and have you guys over. We're really looking forward to that and hopefully one day soon.
Yeah, I guess I screwed up. I should have told everybody. You guys are from Jamaica and, there's a whole gang of you. What did you say, Winston? There's 20 of you?
More than.
No, here. I mean, at this event.
50.
Closer to 50.
50 at this event. You guys all traveled together. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Now, young lady, you have some accolades. You want to tell everybody what you've accomplished?
Okay, well, I'm currently the national female champion for Jamaica. I've also won it the previous year, which was 2023. I've also represented Jamaica in the World English Games in England in 2023 as well. I just travel around with my family and do my best and see where I land in the standings.
That's incredible. I mean, so you guys travel all over the world shooting. And you all travel together. I mean, look, I can't get my wife and I to organize and go somewhere together, right? So I can't imagine the logistics for getting everybody together. But you said you're working on making it easier to come to Jamaica with guns. But in the United States, it's a right to own a firearm. There, it's not a right. It's a privilege. Yeah. So you talk about it being in Jamaica, what you have to go through to even get a firearm and be able to compete.
We have a strong shooting community in Jamaica. Our club has a very rich history. Our founder, Tony Kelly, he's in the Hall of Fame in skeet shooting. As it pertains to obtaining firearms in Jamaica, I mean, you apply and they interview you. You have to, have the safe in place and you have to do background checks. And, once that process is completed, you're usually granted permission to own a firearm.
That's awesome. Well, I shouldn't say it's awesome. It's complicated, compared to what we deal with here. So, but I'm glad you all had the perseverance to do it because one of the things I look forward to at this event is seeing you guys down here. Winston, we've had a blast together down here. A lot of fun shooting together. Incredible shooter. Talk about that for a second. I want to hear from both of you two. Training. I know you guys, you're the head coach, right?
No.
I'm sorry.
We're two coaches, Khalil and Sean.
Okay, I'm sorry. You introduced me to so many people, Winston. I'm getting confused. But then you also have Ben Hustlade also flies in from time to time that works with you guys also. With the difficulties with firearms, is there any restrictions as far as like how much you can shoot or when you can shoot?
Well, there is some kind of restriction as it relates to practice Like when you go to the club and stuff like that, you have to apply through the FLA. But currently, as members of the club, we go through an application, we sign the books and stuff like that, and we, use the rounds that we need on the particular day. But there's not much restriction on that at the club. So we're okay with practicing. But of course, that comes at a cost. We have to, everyone tends to manage that cost as it relates to ammunition itself. And then maybe some persons maybe doing lessons with coaches and stuff like that. So that's also a cost to factor in. We practice mainly weekly. Sometimes person goes there 2 times a week or 3 times a week. I try to practice at least every week. Sometimes not possible, but I do try and do that every week and prepare myself. We have, I guess, limitations in terms of our landscape. We may not have, this large area to practice on large birds and stuff like that, but we do try our best with, technical, setting up technical birds. Our course setter O'Neill mainly sets us with some good targets that we can practice on coming up here. But, we try our best with practice on a weekly basis.
Well, talk about that with a little bit of restrictions, like what Winston was saying with the training, and then you come to a big competition like this. Is it a little intimidating at first?
At first, it was very intimidating. I won't lie. I remember my first tournament, and I was kind of scared because I didn't really know what I was getting into. It was just a new environment, a new experience, but at the same time, I didn't really go in with very a lot of expectations, really. And I ended up performing really well. And honestly, now I have been more acclimatized because I've done a lot of traveling with my parents in the past maybe 2 or 3 years. So it's not as intimidating currently, but I definitely still see the challenge when I come to overseas tournaments and participate, because there's a lot of facilities that we don't have and a lot of presentations we won't see at home. So it's definitely good for you as a shooter to learn how to adapt to a presentation and kind of improvise a little bit and get more accustomed to a new presentation so that you can put that in your catalog and then basically just perform that once again with more experience at a different place.
Yeah. So what classes do each one of you compete in?
I'm in master class.
I'm in C class.
You're in C class, Winston?
I'm in AA.
You're in AA. See, I got to worry about you, Gene. See, you're in AA. Now I got to worry about you kicking my butt. Great. I got enough competition around here, young lady. But so compared to other countries and other places, and even at home, what would you say the level of the competition is in the United States compared to what you're used to?
The level here is certainly a couple notches above what we have back home. It takes a while for us to get used to the speed and the distances. So your landscape is so vast that it's even, birds that look slow takes more lead for me than, back home. So as Aliana said, there's some, tempering that, needs to happen. It takes us a couple of days to get used to the presentations here. And yes, there you guys also, the creativity of the targets, here. And that's why we brought with us this trip. Our course setter, O'Neill Brown, is here to come to see, get a, for the second time visiting. He was here a year before last. And, to come to, be able to replicate some of these targets back home for us.
What about you, Winston? Anything to add to that?
Well, yes. There are different types of targets here. So we're not used to the 70 millimeter target. And when we go to the World English, we're not used to the 110 targets. So those are new targets for us that we need to understand and know how the birds travel, how you calculate your leads and so forth. So as Craig said, the landscape itself lends to a new technique or a new reading of the birds that we're not used to back home.
And what about you, young lady? When you come over here, you got girls like Desi Edmonds and, all these phenomenal shooters like Karen Miles and stuff. What is the level of competition like against the ladies? Not just AA, but against the ladies. Is it on the level of what you're used to, or is it much more here?
Honestly, I think it definitely is very competitive in America compared to Jamaica. obviously the pool is a lot larger in America because, you know, Jamaica can only have so much people. Yeah. So I definitely find them very good competitors, and I really do my best to try and just at least, you know, be somebody they could look out for hopefully one day. But honestly, I mainly focus on just improving as a shooter, and I don't really tend to look at the scoreboard so much. It's more of the whole story that I went through on the course. You know, what was the process? What was the journey? How did I improve with this course rather than what was the score? So I definitely look up to those two shooters. They're great. There's a bunch of other ones that I also admire. And I just definitely think that the competition, the competitive level that we have, there's definitely a jump between the two countries. But I definitely think that with the upcoming juniors that will hopefully start to flourish, the club back home, that will soon start to replicate that.
Well, you mentioned, you just said juniors. You know, here in the United States, youth shooting is huge. I mean, it gets bigger and bigger every year. SCTP Nationals up north in the Cardinal Center, it grows every year. What is it like in Jamaica? Is it, because of the restrictions on firearms, is it a little tougher, obviously, and is there still a youth shooting presence there?
Well, we used to have a strong youth program, you know, a couple of years ago. And I'll take this opportunity to give Aliana her props, because she recently restarted her she put some energy into getting the youth program back on track. And you know, it's a lot of what you're seeing today is a product of, you know, I would say maybe 5-6 years ago when we had a very strong program. It fell off, you know, when the individual who was promoting the program, he took a different direction. And we're trying to get some energy. Aliana is putting some very good energy back into that program now. And, you know, as we all know, that's where the future lies, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree. And, you know, one of the things, and you guys listen to the podcast all the time, you know how much Sean and I push, you know, take someone new shooting, take them to a tournament. And we hear some excuses sometimes, but after hearing what you guys go through to even own a firearm, let alone be able to go shooting, and you put together a great team, you travel together, you're helping with the youth shooting, God bless you. It's an inspiration, and it should be no excuses in the United States for anybody not to go shooting. And so hats off to all of you. Congratulations. I'm glad you all are here.
Maybe you can put a plug in for them to lift that embargo.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
we need to get our guns. We need to get our ammo. I mean, so,
yeah,
you know, it would be, you know,
well,
we have a lot of people who are, you know, enthusiastic, you know, gun owners, shooters that, you know, we have a strong shooting community. We need to keep it going, you know. So this is our, you know, this is our plug to say, you know, get Jamaica off that list, please.
Yeah, there you go.
To allow us to be more competitive as well, you know, be more exposed and experienced, and, you know, to come up here and really do a good job at shooting, because not only for the scores, but we enjoy shooting, you know, and that restriction kind of lowers the activity or the presence in shooting in Jamaica.
Well, we'll see if we can get a call to Mr. Trump. So, but yeah, you know, I just, when I stop and I think about it, the struggles that you guys have and what you go through, it's not only as an inspiration, but it's like, wow, I'm really, really privileged to have what we have here. You know, and I think we all need to be thankful here in the United States, knowing what you guys have to go through. All of us shooters are a little spoiled. So, but you know what? Thank you very much for spending some time with us. I really appreciate it. I love seeing you guys over here. I wish we can get you here for more events than just a couple, you know. We'd love to see you more often over here. And you're a great bunch of shooters. Winston, I have to be careful around you. I know what you're up to. I think you're sneaky. You're a little bit better than a C-class shooter. So, but good luck to y'all the rest of the weekend. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. We greatly appreciate it. And thank you for being listeners to the Dead Pair podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Well, tell Sean hi for us. We miss it.
Yes, we will do that. I'm sure Sean's going to be jealous knowing that I got to sit down and interview you guys. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good.
Well, Sean, what do you think? You know all these people, but what do you think about hearing their stories?
All right. Well, first up, let me back up. David de Brol, great guy, fantastic guy, native Floridian. So he knows the ropes down there. And the ShellzShuker, what a great product. I still use mine every time I'm out on the range. So if you guys have never seen those, by the way, go check it out, because that is an awesome tool to keep in your bag or on your buggy to clean up shells, especially if you got an auto. It's like almost a necessity, right? So
yeah, and the last time when we first tried those, and I brought it up on the podcast, I had people just texting me because the spelling is a little different. And it's a little off. And so I tell you what I'll do. I'll go ahead and put the link to his website right down in the show description for this episode. So anybody that's hearing this, you get confused and what was that again and all that, just go right down in the show description. You can click on the link. So, but yeah, I mean, David's a great guy, and I've shot with him a bunch. I've been to dinner with him and his wife. I mean, they're great people, and just absolutely love running into him and shooting with him.
Yeah, he's a pleasure. And then, wow, what can I say about the Jamaicans? And I mean, had no idea what they went through. I'm going to have to go back and actually listen to that again, because half of that I couldn't even believe the steps that are required for them just to. Yeah. I mean, folks, we take it for granted up here. It's easy. You go to, you got to show your ID or whatever to buy a gun. You got to go through an FFL and all that stuff. But good Lord, can you imagine even doing half of what they have to do to get a gun down there, Jason?
Yeah, but that's what I love so much about them, is because they don't take that they don't take no as an answer. They keep fighting until they can get their gun and go out and shoot. And we take it for granted in this country, and the people that go out and shoot recreationally that are not NSCA members and don't shoot tournaments, you really are missing the boat on some of your rights there, so.
Yeah. Well, and we hear it all the time, constantly. I mean, how many times do the Australians email us, Jason, tell us the same thing, how hard it is for their sport, and the same thing from the people from England across the pond.
That's right.
I mean, it's tough, guys. I mean, we really, when you deal with it every day and you're used to things being the way they are, you can gripe and complain, oh, this is too restrictive or that's too restrictive. But at the same time, none of us have any idea what the rest of the world's going through to get firearms. I mean, just to do this game. These aren't. We're not talking about AR-15s. We're not talking about pistols. We're talking about over/under shotguns, pump shotguns, and automatic shotguns. It's you
easily take it for granted.
Yeah, you do. You do.
So, well, hey, listen, Sean. We between these interviews and us flapping our gums earlier, we kind of ran a little long here. But this has been a great episode. I hope everybody got a little something out of it. I hope everybody learned a little something. We're talking Jack Link's Cup 2025. Yeah, it's a big blast shoot. I understand it's expensive, but this is all about the experience that Sean and I were talking about. And Sean, how do we get people to have that experience?
Well, guys, we say it week in and week out, take somebody new shooting. It's so important. Again, touching back on the Jamaicans, we take it for granted. And you can make whatever excuses you want to make about how difficult it is, or, I don't have the time. But hey, we need to keep this stuff going, and we need to stick to our guns, literally, on this to make sure that this sport stays around and we all can continue to enjoy it for years to come. So take somebody new shooting, put a gun in their hand, watch that smile on their face as they break their first clay, and you will have contributed to helping this game.
Yep, absolutely. And I hope y'all are having as much fun as we do. I mean, shoot, just sitting here with the big man, just talking about this stuff. I absolutely love this. I mean, we're 5 years into it. This will be episode 201, and I'm still having as much fun as day one. And I hope you guys can find the joy in it, guys and gals, and take the family shooting. You know what?
Heck yeah.
Think about that for a minute, Sean. We talk about take someone new shooting, take your wife and kids. If you're a guy that goes out and shoots, take your wife and kids with you. Take them on a weekend, and if they get the bug, please don't send me lawsuits about how you lost your 401k. but I mean, what a great wholesome sport for everybody to get into. So
yeah, definitely.
Sean Alley, old buddy, until next week, my friend.
Can't wait to see you all back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.
We'll see you next time on the Dead Pair Podcast.
The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, the mark of performance, and is fueled by Fiocchi USA. The Dead Pair theme song was written, arranged, and produced by Toby Tomplay. Special thanks to the following sponsors: Atlas Traps, Ranger Performance Eyewear, Rhino Chokes, Long Range LLC, Taconic Distillery, Score Chaser, and Clay Range Design Works.